It's time for the ToD, everybody. We have ToD going up against WaN, aka White and Nerdy. So WaN is an Undead player from Germany, as far as I know. And again, the WAN stands for White and Nerdy. Also streaming, ToD obviously streaming on his own Twitch as well. We're going to look today at the Night Elf, the human versus Undead that we have right in front of us here. So I haven't watched the replay yet. I've been sent the game and someone told me that it was a pretty spectacular one, so we're going to trust that here right now and going to check that out and see how that game actually unfolds. So at this point in time we have on the side of White and Nerdy Crypt after the altar taken, so no early fiends or any shenanigans like that just yet. Doesn't go straight into it. Can expect a bit of harass for him here for sure. I mean, traditionally, when you're looking at a map like this, you always want to make sure that, one of the strategies that you can use is you try and harass early on against the human player, and you're trying to just deny him as much experience as you can by pissing him off a little bit, getting a few of those coils, and then trying to take experience away from him. The one thing that's also going to be interesting is ToD recently has actually started to shake things up a little bit because he was quite frustrated on his stream with especially the heroes on the side of a human, that he always struggled a bit with that early Archmage. So there is actually a chance that he starts this off with an Alchemist, which has become more or less his preferred first hero choice. And at least on his stream, he's been really successful with it. So the Alchemist early on allows you to build up some really decent pressure. It has a huge amount of hit points, and yeah, it's pretty flexible. It's also one of the main reasons where we're seeing Alchemists these days actually very often for other races too as the second hero, just because the flexibility is amazing. You get the neutral hero a little bit faster than you would get your own race hero. So there's definitely a couple of advantages to playing an Alchemist here. For White and Nerdy, on the other hand, we're already seeing the Death Knight, obviously timed with a Rod of Necromancy, one of the best items for Undead players in general, and you should always make sure that you have one or two in your inventory. Acolyte goes down on the creeps here, so ToD, after the scout came in, immediately made sure that he was pressuring it, and then White and Nerdy suicided it into the creeps to deny experience to the opponent. But it also leaves us right away with a nice corpse so that you can get a little bit of skeleton action in the game here. So let's see how that's going to work out for him. Also talking about the first hero for ToD, he actually went for it. So we have Alchemist first for the ToD, and we're going to find out how he actually is going to make that play here. Again, it allows you to put a lot of pressure onto heroes in particular. There's a huge amount that you can also do then later on in the late game if you actually make it to your ultimate, just simply because Transmute is absolutely fantastic and works on basically anything. I feel the only, as far as I know, the only unit that you cannot transmute is, as far as I know, a mountain giant after you got the upgrade. So a little bit of creeping already going on with the militia. It's going to get the slippers of agility here if he picks it up. And in the meantime, we're still seeing White and Nerdy trying to rush around here a little bit, trying to find out, okay, what can I do with this? Still going full for the harass here. In the main base, we see the attack to the Necropolis. Already has the Nerubian Tower here in just for protection, double camp that he can probably start creeping also as well, maybe even with a bit of a cool focused attempt. But if you just look at this main base, you see that in terms of unit, he doesn't really have too much. He has like 3 ghouls right now, he's fully focused on attacking, has a Death Knight out on the map, and is trying to make sure that he gets some harass in. And gets actually a Footman in this case. We're having, for now at least, the Alchemist with the Boots of Speed, so that's going to make him even more dangerous than before. If you have the Chemical Rage, you don't only get that attack speed bonus, but also, of course, you're a little bit faster on your feet, as we're seeing here right now. And that's exactly that pressure that we've been talking about a bit earlier. Level 2 already for the Alchemist, but you can see how without the Unholy Aura, the Death Knight is actually taking a little bit of a beating right now, so he's not really doing too well at this point. Now, ToD, between all of this, has now also started to focus more and more on creeping here. So he's getting a few more militias from the main base, sending it over here to try and creep the next gold mine, and therefore also take the rock golem down. When we're looking at overall supply, we have 22 supply right now for White and Nerdy. When looking over at ToD, he's sitting at 34, so it's a little bit more supply heavy. We talked about that fast tech that White Nerdy was trying to get out here. But ToD is actually doing a really good job with the scouting pattern that we're seeing here. Whereas White and Nerdy is just now starting to scout, the creep pattern. Starting to creep a little bit as well, with the help of the Nerubian Tower here, baiting a few units into the main base, has a few fiends now added to the composition as well, just as he hits that Halls of the Dead, so level 2. Most likely going to see him start with Lich, and yep, that's exactly what we're seeing here. But ToD already with his fast expand. So we're already knowing the name of the game a little bit. We have one skeleton on the way that is going to try and find out what exactly is happening down there for WaN, and it is of course going to be super important now to just find out, okay, is there a second base, yes or no, and then he has to shape his own strategy around that. And for now we have ToD actually starting to take the offensive. You want to distract a bit from the expand, defend already researched for the Footman here, and again the pressure play against the Death Knight. Now by now we're having on the DK the Ring of Protection +2. Would have loved to get some different items here, but it helps him a little bit to mitigate some of that pressure play. Also seeing right now, again on the other side, Wand of Mana stealing. ToD has a really good start into this game right now. He currently sees the Slaughterhouse here too, doesn't force the cancel just yet, doesn't focus on that, and is still trying to take a couple of units out. Lich comes out, but ToD with those boots of speed is pretty nimble on his feet. There's not really a whole lot that White Nerdy can do right now. He still has that level 2 Death Knight, who at least has the Unholy Aura, but it's not really enough to put any kind of massive pressure now onto that Alchemist, and instead is exactly the other way. Alchemist still doing work, surround attempt here. Would be surprised if that actually works out, but yeah, the Alchemist eventually should be able to get away. Gets the Nova though, and that slows him down, and here's the Surround, and the Surround is strong. Can break through a few of those skeletons, get a bit of experience, but at the end of the day, we're looking at a potential town portal here. ToD is maybe even going to get out of this one, and loses the Alchemist. Wants to go for the Fiend to take it down, and then the Lich comes through with the Nova. ToD now has to either rebuy or retrain the Alchemist. And in the meantime, we're seeing down here an Arcane Vault build. But of course, the whole idea for our Undead player is now to put a little bit of pressure on his own and try and make sure that he starts damaging that expansion, or at least makes ToD work for it. Alchemist was rebought at the tavern. Lich immediately targeted here by the Arcane Tower, so trying to drain the mana as fast as he can. One of the worst things that can happen to a Peon or a Peasant line is of course that Nova wrecking through. At this point it's just level 1, so it's not really the biggest of deals, but it's still something that you have to be a bit concerned about. So Skeletons are going to be taken out here too. Alchemist on level 3, double checking the main base. ToD hasn't really started a second hero just yet. Oftentimes what you see him do on his stream is go into an Archmage even second to at least add that Brilliance aura a little bit later in the game, but putting the focus more so on that early Alchemist that we're seeing here for him. Another tower already being built, but still that harass that we have on the side of White Nerdy, and he has a statue now on the way as well. So he's starting to build up a little bit of pressure by himself. 30 supply for ToD, 32 that we are seeing for White and Nerdy. Actually, it was, yeah, and we have the Black Citadel already in tech. More Crypt Fiends being built, and in pure Undead style, he's just trying to make sure that he is building up those heroes, that he tries to get some experience, and that he is going to run into that late game on one base. But ToD is now in a position where he's, again, trying to apply that pressure, and that Alchemist is basically like a race car. I mean, that thing with the boots of speed is just like, racing around here and trying to take down the statue. ToD so far has still a good stand in the game. I mean, he lost earlier the Alchemist, but he's still on 2 base. He wasn't really threatened too much. He needs to be a little bit worried about that potential timing push that is going to come from White and Nerdy eventually, trying to move in with potentially the Destroyers here, for example, and breaking through the towers and taking this down. For now, it's just that continuous pressure play that's a bit of an issue. And you can see that ToD is basically only relying on Footmen so far, and that can be a problem in the long run. Now, obviously, he has Defend, that really helps him a little bit, but his main source of damage is really that Alchemist that is coming through here, so he's very reliant on items, and he needs to be careful, but we don't have too much mana on those two Undead heroes, so that's definitely a little bit of a mitigating factor for him. Town Hall is nearly completed with the upgrade, so then we have the potential for a second hero for ToD finally. Main base, on the other hand, of the Undead player already has that Black Citadel, and now just the question, what are we going to see as that second hero? And it is going to be a Paladin. So in this case, against Undead, going for the Paladin second. It's going to give him a ton of sustain and also, of course, a bit of nuke potential against the Undead forces here. And talking about those Undead forces, one tower already down. Well done by White White and Nerdy, still applying the pressure, but with the defend available, and the Undead hero is not really having too much mana at this point, there's not a lot that he can do. Well, he can surround, and he certainly does that, but that Alchemist is just a bit too powerful against the Fiends. So eventually that thing is broken, and we're having him move back, hit another healing potion, and then rejoin the fight. And right now, with the concoction coming out here too, you can really tell that it's a little bit rough for White and Nerdy to make anything happen here just yet. Looking into the main base of the Undead player, I mean, what we're seeing right now is the third hero coming through. So we're going straight for the Crypt Lord here. Still currently sitting at 44 supply, so we don't have any upkeep issues for any one of these two players. But we're seeing now the second hero coming in, so the Paladin. And once you have that Holy Light on a proper level, you can really keep that Alchemist alive through everything and even go in and try and nuke a little bit. So once again, healing already coming through. Third hero is in play right now with a Crypt Lord though. We're still seeing that Death Knight on level 3, Lich on 2. And still that focus on the side of the Alchemist, but that monster is just starting to rush through all of it. Doesn't have a lot of damage items here, but still, he is packing a punch. Burrow being used here by White and Nerdy, making sure that the Fiends survive for now, but we have the first few Riflemen also joining the fun here for ToD, and that definitely changes the name of the game a little bit. More direct damage output here, but the rally point, not really well chosen, and those Riflemen, I mean, one of them basically running straight into his death, and the second one just barely able to get out of there. But of course that expansion is starting to really play a factor here. And mana is a problem for White and Nerdy. Doesn't have a statue with this at this point either, so it needs to be cautious. So does the Paladin. Paladin has to be really careful here. Drinks the potion here immediately. This is actually what ToD has been doing the entire time. A lot of his money is really going into items, and we're seeing him at 42 upkeep, so he's still in no upkeep territory, even with that expand. Still has a little bit of gold left though, but that Paladin is in trouble and goes down as the Lich with the orb takes him apart. But then again, Crypt Lord is also rather low here, and the Alchemist getting body blocked by the Death Knight. Well done! And even more Fiends now coming out. Forgot them a bit earlier, but the Alchemist, that guy's just a monster. Walks through and hammers that Crypt Lord into the ground, Goblin power. And yeah, good old Crypty has absolutely no chance here. So ToD at 46 supply for now is moving back. 45 supply on the side of the Undead player. And looking into the base, we're seeing the Crypt Lord, of course, rebuild. But also on the items, sorry, in the upgrades, we're currently seeing the Fiends with the +1 about to be done. ToD himself now with a few more towers that he tries to build up at the expansion to save that, and just making sure that the Undead can't just lock on a siege mode onto this one, as we're seeing both of them now starting to focus a little bit more on experience and creeping. In this case, ToD trying to level up the Paladin, of course, first of all, but also the Alchemist. So we actually don't see him move one of the heroes away to make sure that only one hero hits all of the experience. At the same time, if you look over to the Undead, shop is being crept as well. In terms of item, we're having a Wand of Illusion now. We're seeing that Scroll of Healing, have also the potions of Lesser Invulnerability, which are going to become really important in the later stages of this game as well. I'm actually a little bit surprised even that ToD didn't go for a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability either yet. Now he has the chance, okay, there we go, has the chance to grab it up now, and that's exactly what he did. We have him also with the Mana Potion and even more experience creep for him at this point. Paladin has not quite yet hit level 2, and we're already seeing White and Nerdy again attacking here. Lich being drained of his mana by the Arcane Towers, and ToD will have to TP eventually for this one. Repair comes through. We still have enough mana. No, we actually don't have enough mana for a Nova just yet. And ToD is going to make his way over a little bit slower, especially up to the front. The Abomination is tanking most of the damage here, but the human player will be there pretty soon. And right now we have 48 supply against 49. ToD has a little bit of spare resources here as well. And at this point, we're already seeing the additional Alchemists with a Wand of Illusion coming through here as well. So right now, we're having a lot of damage output with all the Riflemen behind it for ToD, and White and Nerdy has to start kiting. I mean, it's the name of the game for a lot of Undead players. You're trying to make good use of that Unholy Aura, and you're slowly kiting back, and you're trying to make sure that your opponent doesn't really get too much done with it, and always loses a few units on the way. But here comes now the Scroll of Protection. There's no Destroyer, no way to dispel that, and once again, we're seeing White and Nerdy starting to get a lot of pressure onto that Death Knight, so he's in a position where he has to maneuver it back into the back line, but the Crypt Lord isn't looking too happy either. That Alchemist is an absolute monster right now. Is going full beast mode, pops the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability already, and is starting to chase in here as White and Nerdy is on the run. Knights are joining the fun by now too, and we are still relying heavily on the mana pool of those Undead heroes here for White and Nerdy, but look at that DK. The Death Knight really low right now and needs to be careful here. And he completely ignores the Alchemist because you just can't take him down. That guy has 1,100 hit points right now already, and a Paladin behind him that is continuously healing him up. Scroll of Healing is also still in the inventory, can also be used here. And right now, White and Nerdy is losing ground. Might lose the Abomination here, and indeed he does. And that puts, of course, the Alchemist a little bit closer to level 5. Level 4 for him, level 2 for the Paladin. Undead heroes still in play here, all three of them, but the Death Knight rather low, and ToD still relying on that double base economy that he holds true to. Double statue now, 50 supply for the Undead, and he might be able to take down that Paladin again, and yep, down he goes. Good kill, and that definitely also cuts a little bit into the shelf life of the Alchemist, who needs now to be a lot more careful, but has still a scroll of Town Portal. And also, of course, that little speed bonus in addition to the Boots of Speed that he already holds is not really a problem for him to move away. Even going straight for the Staff of Teleportation here and moving back down. Now for ToD again, like when you look at the overall supply for him, he's just now breaking through the low upkeep. He's sitting at 53 supply, but mostly he invested a lot of the extra gold that he got into items. Even the Staff of Sanctuary has been used here a few times. We're going to see that a little bit more often also throughout the game. But White and Nerdy definitely now in a position where he at least has the level 3 Death Knight that gives him the level 2 Coil. The Lich is on 3, so the nuke potential that we have on his side is a lot stronger. With the Aura also on level 2, you're now really looking at a situation where he can also use that mobility a little bit more effectively. And the Undead heroes are really starting to become a lot more powerful here in that mid-game. Now the concern for him is definitely the fact that he doesn't have an expansion yet, but already an Acolyte just sitting here waiting to haunt another gold mine. Keep in mind though that we also by now have a few more tools available to the Undead. The Potion of Greater Mana that we're seeing in the inventory of the Death Knight is definitely a huge asset for any team fight, and then next to it we also have now Destroyers in play, which is going to make it a lot more easier if ToD again relies on a Scroll of Protection, or is just trying to maybe add a few casters later down the road as well. Problematic is that that Alchemist is on level 4, nearly level 5 already, and you have a ton of Knights now with this too. Knights also with +2 damage already. Compare that to the Fiends, also sitting on +2 as we speak. But that's a really beefy front line, and also a fast one at that, so this is going to make it tricky for the Fiends to really withstand all that pressure. And here comes the attack already. Lich under a lot of pressure here. Death Coil comes through, so comes the Impale from the Crypt Lord. Alchemist already going straight into the backline, trying to take the ranged units out here. And White and Nerdy again going for the kiting, but the Crypt Lord is low, and the Death Knight doesn't even know what to coil first. The Fiend's under pressure, the heroes too. Makes it to the shop here, could maybe even add another Scroll of Healing at this point, but is still trying to nuke a few of those units away. Of course, Paladin is in the same boat. He already died twice in the game, and attempt to put even more pressure onto that Crypt Lord. It needs to be really careful here. White and Nerdy with the attempt to keep it alive. We have level 3 by now for the third hero, but the Abomination here might fall as well, and indeed it does. And now we should see that Alchemist hit level 5 any second. Another Nova coming through the Knights at the front line, trying to break the meat shield here, as we are seeing the Impales come through every time that Crypt Lord has the mana. One Knight down, a second follows, level 4 for the Lich already. Good micro here on the side of the Undead player with the entire burrow that we're seeing every time one of the Fiends is low, but now the pressure play against the Alchemist. Nearly level 5 for him. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability used. Oh, good nukes against the Paladin, but he barely survives here. Paladin is still in play. 50 supply for the Undead player. For ToD, we have 53. He gets the upgrade. He gets the level up for the Paladin. Still there, but needs to be careful right now. Losing a fair amount of units, especially the Rifleman under pressure as another Nova just chills them out here. Good Staff of Sanctuary use once again on the side of ToD though, and his Alchemist still makes the plays. Nuking the Death Knight even with the Paladin and trying to chase him down here. So much speed on that Alchemist, but the Nova is just too much, and down he goes. ToD losing the Alchemist, and now the Paladin might follow. Double kill on the heroes. Everything is low on the side of White and Nerdy. He has the Lich low, the Death Knight is low as well, but he still has all three heroes and try to keep them alive here. Kites away against the human forces and takes a few more knights away. What a clutch fight. If that Death Knight falls, or the Alchemist just gets those 1-2 hits in, then that fight would look completely different and shift the entire balance of the game. But as it stands, all of a sudden, we're seeing White and Nerdy with a bit of an upper hand in these battles. His problem, of course, is still the, pretty much unprotected base up there. ToD couldn't really capitalize on that yet, so we have 2 base against 2 base for the time being. In terms of supply, it's 43 on the side of the Undead player against the 48 that ToD has. He has the Paladin back to business, but he needs that Alchemist. The Alchemist is really the linchpin for the strategy that ToD is playing here. He has a great army already. He's looking at +2 attack on the Knights, the +1 attack already for the Rifleman, and he's done really well with that beefy meat shield at the front and then the damage dealers in the back, trying to pressure the Fiends, and his hero combination is also helping him out quite a lot to put the pressure onto the Death Knight in particular. And an Undead army just hinges and relies so much on that DK. But by now, you look at the Death Knight, you have a level 5 for him, you have the Lich also, of course, on a pretty decent level with level 4, closing on a 5, level 4 Crypt Lord as well. The Undead force is definitely starting to become a lot stronger here. For ToD, it's not going to be easy to break through that. And by now we're also having a few defensive structures build up for White and Nerdy to make sure that his own base is going to be fine here. Staff of Sanctuary, once again, coming through, keeping the units alive. Still no upkeep for the Undead player. ToD already at 52, is maybe even starting another Knight though. And Nep, indeed he does. More experience, but we have also the Alchemist back to business. And now it's time to hunt once again. He's going to try and apply that pressure. Already going for the Death Knight here. Nice Arcane Towers, dropping the mana quickly, but he's able to get another coil through as we see the Chemical Rage coming in, and now even with the Gloves of Haste moving in, getting some more hacks in against that Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord low, Death Knight low as well. Mana and basically non-existence for the Undead at this point in time. Needs to be very careful here. Death Knight has also used that Potion of Greater Mana already, and this is starting to become a real problem. Alchemist is starting to apply more and more pressure onto that Crypt Lord, and if he gets close enough, there's the Holy Light, gets that through. Chemical Rage tries to make his way in, but the coil is there as we have the DK eating another potion of mana. Then again, Militia already on the way. He figured out that there is a second base and he's starting to put some damage in here. The towers are not upgraded yet, but White and Nerdy is again starting to nuke the Alchemist. The heal comes through at the last moment, but it shows you that power of those high-level Coil Nova nukes that we're seeing right now. And in this case, the Nova wasn't even level 3, so that pressure is going to be even bigger later on in the game, but more units are coming in right now. ToD is at 56 supply against the 54 that we're seeing for White and Nerdy. More Acolytes are coming over, Dark Ritual being used, Nova comes through, Knight goes down, but the Alchemist going in again, more Knights about to fall, you know, Staff of Sanctuary saves it for the time being. Good job by ToD, again keeping the Paladin alive here and trying to make sure that the Dark Brew Alchemist does not fall again. Oh, the Nova! And he gets the Town Portal through. Close call here, close call for sure. And just double checking at the expansion up here, not really a big issue. Couple of units went down here as the 2 towers got it ready, but now ToD is in a really awkward spot. Even buying a Goblin Shredder a bit early to make sure that he doesn't run into any problems with wood. He's already sitting at 486 right now. Staff of Sanctuary healing up the units here in the base as well. But ToD, I mean, he needs to try and get that Alchemist on level 6. Once you have transmute, you can really just run around your opponent and always make sure that you transmute one unit after another. It's a 40-45 second cooldown, so it's really not all that much, and you can just transmute anything, and that's going to be pretty insane. Not only do you get the money, but also you, of course, deny your opponent unit after unit, and that's exactly what he wants to do here. So even though we're having a lot of good pressure that is being executed by the player in but by the Undead player, he needs to be a little bit cautious. We're seeing that Paladin all the way in the back here. ToD is currently sitting at 60 supply against the 54 that we have for our Undead, but it's the pressure on the Alchemist that really matters the most. He could use that, he used that Town Portal a bit earlier. He gets another heal here. Paladin really just trying to enable the Alchemist as much as he can. Still the Knights together with the Rifleman that we're seeing for ToD, even putting the Shredder into the action now. And that bad boy, of course, is a significant amount of damage as well. And once again, we're seeing the Knights being targeted here, and that's another level up for the Undead heroes. Level 5 Lich, and he's still firing away, doing the damage. Another one falling. Good job by him thus far. Gets even more XP in that craft. But again, the attempt by the Alchemist to at least get some damage onto these heroes, and especially the Crypt Lord is low, so is the Abomination. So at this point, you have to be careful if you're the Undead player when you use your Death Coil. That cooldown can definitely be abused by ToD if he gets a good timing here to put the pressure onto a hero instead. Holy Light comes through, nukes the Abom away, and more experience tickling into the hands of ToD here. The human player wants the Alchemist on level 6. Another Nova though, the kiting just so successful here for White and Nerdy the entire time, back and forth, using that unholy aura that he has, and even with those fast Knights and the movement speed on the side of the Alchemist with the chemical rage and the boosts, the boots, it's really tricky for ToD to keep up with this. So just like turn around, wait for the mana, and try and nuke another unit, and White and Nerdy has done a fantastic job with that, but he loses another statue here, and that takes some of the sustain away that he really wants to have here. Next statue also rather low, Fiend about to fall, one down, second one falling. Level 6 is there, and it's time for Transmute. Hammers another statue away, and with enough mana we are going to see Transmute come through pretty soon on the side of the Alchemist, and all of a sudden we're having White and Nerdy in a really awkward spot here. He's continuously on the run the entire time, kiting as much as he can. Another Staff of Sanctuary being used, but ToD finally has a couple of tools that he can use, and he has a Sobi Mask as well to boot. Fantastic item for him right now. Needs to be a little bit careful with the pathing of that Paladin though, because that guy can still fall. ToD has nearly 1,000 gold right now and 1,000 wood. He's sitting in low upkeep, and we're having the Undead player with a lot less resources at this point, but still at 45 supply himself. So it's a triple hero against a double hero setup. That Crypt Lord dying earlier was such a big blow to White Nerdy, so he has to be very cautious how he approaches this now. Crypt Lord is still on level 4, but now we have that level 6 Alchemist, and this is really what a lot of this game is probably going to be about here. It's actually a fantastic game so far, I'm not going to lie. Constant pressure from White and Nerdy. The kills against the heroes from ToD really hurt him in the mid-game. I think if that double kill in the mid-game fight against the Paladin and the Alchemist wouldn't have happened, ToD would by now probably be in such a dominant position that that game wouldn't even be a contest. But through those kills, the heroes of White and Nerdy, they leveled up faster. He could establish some map presence and really a dominant position, and he's done exactly that. But now he has to deal with that Alchemist. Transmute coming through here. Chemical Rage now, of course, still allowing him to chase that down easily, and we've seen what that he basically just turned those statues into minced meat earlier, and he's going to try and do exactly that again. Already moving in here. Good Impale as the Crypt Lord comes back in. Nice Nova, hitting a lot here, 4 units in total, and then the Destroyers coming in with the pressure once more. Another Staff of Sanctuary, and by now we have the Paladin on level 5 as well, and this is actually starting to hurt a lot. Those nukes were no joke earlier, but now it's going to be even more brutal. Look at that Alchemist! That guy is just shredding shit right now. He's absolutely destroying at this point. Transmute used again. ToD just opening up the money bags here. Paladin, on the other hand, needs to be careful without... Oh, nice body blocking here with the Crypt Fiend. And that Paladin is basically a goner. If he can get to the shop and get some items, then he might be able to survive here. Has the potion of invulnerability, gets the potion of invisibility as well, but the surround is there, and the Staff of Sanctuary being used as the alchemist is able to keep him in play. Let's have a quick look at a few of these units though. 2 damage upgrades on the Rifleman. We're having still the 2 damage upgrades on the side of those Knights as well, and White and Nerdy also kept it at 2 attack upgrades for his Fiends. Even more creeping is going on right now, and he's going for the Granite Golem here as well. So if he takes that, first of all, we're going to see that Crypt Lord eventually hit level 5 pretty easily, but it's also about the gold and getting the item. And with a decent item, you could definitely be in a great spot here. Depends on what, of course, drops, but so far, the Undead player hasn't really been too lucky when it comes to the item drops. And what... Oh, baby! Khaldor's Pipe of Insight. Doesn't get much better than that for an Undead player, so he had some problems with mana the entire time. Another transmute on the statue here. More money. Another Death Knight, another Knight goes down. Death Knight! Oh my god, that holy light. Holy shit, that damage output. And then the Alchemist right on the heels of the DK. But having the Khaldor's Pipe of Insight is such a fantastic tool in the belt of the Undead player right now. Being able to rely on more mana when everything you have relies on using your spells to just nuke a few of those units into oblivion is such a fantastic tool. So now again, good call here on the Crypt Lord. Currently 42 supply for White and Nerdy, 44 for ToD, and ToD still has 1,000 gold and 1,700 wood. That shredder definitely coming through for him in the wood department. At the same time, he's still relying massively on items as well. Needs to be careful with that Alchemist though. Here comes the Impale and the Coil, and down he goes. No Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, no heal available, and the Alchemist falling here. Definitely a huge blow to ToD. Another bunch of units falling. Death Knight about to hit level 6. Crypt Lord, of course, on 5, as we said earlier. That Lich is going to hit 6 soon as well. And the Paladin on the run here, trying to escape somehow. Nice nuke onto the DK, but cannot take him down here. And he bought back the Alchemist. But he needs to be really careful, because that Nova not only slowed him down, but also chunked away a huge part of his HP. And there's the Staff of Sanctuary. Good play. As we see the Dark Ritual coming through for the Lich, and you all of a sudden had another set of mana for a Nova. That was an important move. But now we're having the attempt to kill the Paladin, and that could actually work out here. The speed bonus that we have through the Unholy Aura gives him such a good tool, but ToD is able to save it. This game is not over by any means. Again, Transmute is such a big tool here. 44 supply on the side of our Undead player. Still has quite a bit of resources left here. ToD is in a similar situation. Doesn't quite have the amount of gold in that gold mine, but he's at 42 supply right now and still has quite a bit. So here's our hero, Staff of Sanctuary. Put him back in the base, and now he's trying to get those hit points back. And will join the fight very soon here. Another heal coming through, trying to save the Knight, at least for the time being. ToD could maybe even do a bit better trying to move those back, but as long as he has those Staffs of Sanctuary, he can do a lot with it. He has also 2 by now. Moving in again, and another staff is being used here. Banshee's even in play right now. A huge tool for White and Nerdy. The Banshee play with the Antic-Magic Shell is fantastic for him, because he can now finally do something against those nuking powers that we have on the Paladin. So that is really helping him right now. Keeping that Death Knight alive is absolutely crucial. But once again, the pressure against the Crypt Lord. That might be the end of him here, but not quite. Again, the Novas and the Coils coming through. Coil for the save, and of course still taking the units down in the back. One Knight down, Rifleman falling as well. And we have, again, the Alchemist starting to switch targets, going straight for those Fiends. Good Burrow Micro on the side of White Nerdy, saving a lot of units in these fights. Surround against the Knight. Staff of Sanctuary, keeping that alive. ToD is doing a great job using the staff, but whoa! Level 3 Nova and the Coil, they come through, and that Paladin doesn't stand a chance. Crypt Lord is low, but still alive. Great kill here again by White and Nerdy. He's getting those kills in against the heroes over and over again, and this is just absolutely perfect play. Dancing around the human player as much as he can the entire time and using the spells here. 6 on the Lich, level 6 as well on the Death Knight, and he's going to get the ultimate also for the Crypt Lord here pretty soon. Trying to get the Paladin back, but now the pressure is on, and White and Nerdy is definitely in a position where he's trying to finally get an advantage that allows him to take the game here. ToD eventually will also run out of resources at his expansion. He had 5,000 gold there still left earlier. By now it's 4k. That's not quite as much as we would probably hope for, and that altar is really exposed, and that's exactly the problem. He needs to somehow repair it. Without the Paladin, there's very little chance that he has to keep that Alchemist alive, and we've been talking about Khadgar's Pipe of Insight. The extra mana pool that we have for those undead forces is absolutely fantastic, and another Coil Nova combo can really start pressuring that Alchemist as well. Here comes another Nova through, trying to take a few of the units down here. The extra speed through the Unholy Aura is just so fantastic at this point. And even Possession being used by the Banshee. One Knight for White and Nerdy right now. That was a pretty good one. Going straight in, possessing the Knight. Complete upgrade here now for the Master's Banshee, and using that to its fullest extent. There were 3 knights right there. Another knight about to fall. Rifleman here to the left also might bite the dust, and let's keep that altar in mind. Paladin is about to pop out here. Should be able to walk away. There's no way that White Nerdy can actually take that down before the Paladin is out. Finally, it's back to business. 66 supply by now for the Undead. 31 only for ToD. ToD is desperate here, using once again whatever he has on the side of the heroes. He has continuously been trying to use at least the Transmute to give himself a bit of an advantage, and those Staffs of Sanctuary were decent as well, but maybe a little bit more of that micro on the side of the Knights would have done the trick here. The big problem for him was just the nukes that came from the Undead player. If you would have been able to keep that Alchemist and the Paladin alive a little bit more with additional potions of lesser invulnerability, that would have been it. The mid-game in particular just so crucial here from the perspective of White and Nerdy, getting those 2 kills when he just was able to flip the balance in the game a little bit, and by now it's a cleanup job for him. ToD is still thinking of maybe starving his opponent out here, trying to see, okay, what can I actually do with those units? What can I do with my Alchemist? What can I do with my Paladin? And he needs to find an answer here. If he can pressure that Death Knight and take him out, that would be it. But we still have Banshees in the mix, and outside of Possession, just the Anti-Magic Shell is already fantastic. Again, the Transmute though, and that could in the long run become an issue. That's definitely something we shouldn't neglect here. ToD is at 35 supply, but he has 2 high-level heroes, and he's trying to use them as best as he can, and the cooldown on Transmute is nothing crazy. Good surround here though against the wall, waiting for the invulnerability to wear off so that he can take the hero down. We have a little bit of nuking going on against the Fiends in the backline, and White Nerdy is actually focusing on the rest of the units instead. It can be pretty tricky to take down a late game Paladin, that's definitely certain. But so far, things are looking good for White Nerdy. He's currently at 74 supply, more than doubling what ToD has, but still a little bit hesitant to commit deep into the space, because ToD is always moving in from the side, is going for another Transmute. Bam, another statue just simply gone. More money in the pockets of the human player. But we have more Banshees coming in, as we said before. Banshees with a Possession, Banshees also with a Curse against the Alchemist, and more so, Banshees with the ability to drop the Anti-Magic Shell. And have to actually drop it on the Banshees itself, as you could just see the Holy Light just one-shotting it completely. ToD still relying heavily on the 2 heroes here. Alchemist has done a lot of work in this game, but right now it just doesn't look like it's going to be enough to win this map. White and Nerdy, the German player against the French human, is currently trying to break through the defense here, and he's playing the slow game for sure. He knows that this is looking great for him. Didn't add any additional upgrades, but you just look at these heroes, all 3 of them on high levels. Only the Crypt Lord is not on level 6 yet. But that's going to be the case fairly soon here. Here comes the coil, there's the Nova, the heal just barely saving that Alchemist, but now the anti-magic shell is everywhere. And this is the time where White Nerd decides that he's done playing. Moves in, starts to take these towers down. ToD with a desperate last-ditch defense attempt, but it's not looking pretty for him. The Crypt Lord super low at this point, but things couldn't be worse. Only the heroes basically in play for ToD. Crypt Lord might be low, but I'm not quite sure if he can even take that down. And with Crypt Lord also nearly hitting level 6, he is going to be able to put the ultimate through very, very soon. Doesn't have the mana, then again, another Staff of Sanctuary coming through, but he has that damage, and the Lich alone already is hitting like a truck with that Orb of Corruption. Doing so much work here. Another Transmute coming through, ToD holding on to this, actually going for Mortars here, trying to play the range game, but it might be a little bit too late for any kind of shenanigans here. Crypt Lord might be low, but on the side of the Death Knight, we have enough mana for a coil, uses that immediately to heal him all back up, and this should be the end of it. At this point, ToD has no space to run anymore. He's getting a few heals through with the Holy Light on the Alchemist, but the next Nova coil combo should take him down here. ToD is staffing it, actually saving it for now, but that Paladin can't even run anymore. Completely put into a corner here. No way for him to escape. The Alchemist currently also out of commission, and at this point, everything is over. The hero down, ToD leaving the game, and this is GG as we have White and Nerdy taking the victory. Whew. Pretty cool and fun game, actually. The mid game definitely helping the Undead player to take this. And guys, again, if you enjoyed the commentary, if you want to see a little bit more Warcraft 3 action in the near future, then make sure that you hit that like button on the video. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button as well. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'm going to try and answer as many as I can. And I'm going to see you guys soon again with another Warcraft 3 game. I'm going to throw a bit of Heroes of the Storm in there, of course, as well. But let me know how you enjoy the Warcraft 3 commentary so far. And again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up. See you guys next time, and have a good day.